What if you woke up one day to find yourself in a world without light or sound? No music, no voices, no colors, just an endless void. Could you imagine thriving in that silence and darkness? For Helen Keller, this wasn't an experiment or a nightmare. It was her reality. Yet, she went on to defy every limitation society imposed on her. This is the story of a woman who transformed obstacles into stepping stones, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire millions. The silent storm that changed everything. Helen Keller was born on June 27, 1880, in Tuscumbia, Alabama, into a world full of sights, sounds, and love. As a toddler, she was full of life, learning words like mama and exploring her surroundings with bright curiosity. But when she was just 19 months old, a sudden illness, likely scarlet fever or meningitis, swept through her tiny body. This illness robbed her of her sight and hearing, plunging her into a silent, dark world. Imagine losing not just one, but two of the senses that connect you to life. Helen couldn't see her mother's face, hear her father's comforting words, or even understand why her world had changed so drastically. For the next few years, Helen lived in isolation. Without a way to communicate, she expressed her frustration through tantrums and outbursts. She became wild and unruly, scratching and hitting anyone who tried to impose order. Her family, though loving, didn't know how to help her. The once joyful child now seemed unreachable, locked in a fortress of silence. Enter Anne Sullivan, the miracle worker. Every great story needs a hero, and Helen's came in the form of Anne Sullivan. At just 20 years old, Anne had already faced her share of struggles. Legally blind herself, she had grown up in poverty and endured a difficult childhood. But these challenges forged in her a determination that would prove life-changing for Helen. When Anne arrived at the Keller household in March 1887, she was met with resistance, not just from Helen, but from the entire family, who had grown used to letting Helen have her way. But Anne was undeterred. Her mission was clear. She would teach Helen discipline, language, and most importantly, hope. Anne's breakthrough moment came with the word water. After days of finger-spelling words into Helen's palm with little success, Anne brought Helen to a water pump. She placed one of Helen's hands under the flowing water and spelled out W-A-T-E-R into the other hand. Something extraordinary happened. Helen understood. She realized that the cool liquid running over her hand had a name. This single moment unlocked Helen's world. Within hours, she learned 30 new words. For the first time, she could connect with the world around her. The explosion of learning. Helen's hunger for knowledge was insatiable. Once she grasped the concept of language, she wanted to learn everything. Anne tirelessly spelled words into Helen's hand, teaching her not just nouns, but verbs, adjectives, and entire sentences. Soon, Helen learned to read Braille and even write. By age 10, she mastered speaking, a feat that seemed impossible for someone who couldn't hear. Helen's determination was so fierce that she practiced speech by feeling the vibrations of others' throats and mimicking their mouth movements. It was an arduous process, but Helen thrived on challenges. Imagine this, a girl who couldn't see or hear standing in a classroom and giving a speech. It was unheard of, yet Helen made it her reality. A scholar against all odds, in 1900, Helen achieved what many considered unthinkable. She enrolled in Radcliffe College, a prestigious institution that later merged with Harvard University. With Anne by her side, translating every lecture and assignment into Braille, Helen graduated with honors in 1904. She became the first deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. At a time when women's education was limited and disabilities were seen as insurmountable barriers, Helen shattered stereotypes. She didn't just attend college, she excelled, proving that intelligence and determination know no boundaries. Helen Keller, the voice of millions. Helen's achievements didn't end with her education. She became a prolific writer, penning her autobiography, The Story of My Life, in 1903. This book wasn't just a recounting of her struggles. It was a manifesto of hope and resilience that touched hearts worldwide. But Helen wasn't content with personal success. She devoted her life to advocacy, becoming a powerful voice for disability rights. She worked tirelessly to improve education and opportunities for the blind and deaf-blind, lobbying governments and inspiring social change. Her activism extended to women's suffrage, labor rights, and pacifism, proving that her vision extended far beyond her own challenges. Helen Keller met world leaders, gave speeches, and traveled to over 40 countries, spreading her message of equality and empowerment. She showed the world that disabilities are not limitations, they're opportunities for innovation and growth. Lessons from Helen's journey. Helen Keller's life is more than a story. It's a blueprint for overcoming adversity. Her journey teaches us profound lessons. Resilience overcomes all. Life will throw obstacles your way, but resilience can turn those barriers into stepping stones. Helen's refusal to let her disabilities define her is a testament to the power of persistence. Education is empowerment. Knowledge isn't just power, it's freedom. Helen's thirst for learning opened doors that were once thought permanently closed. Teamwork makes the dream work. Behind every great achievement is a team. Anne Sullivan's dedication and guidance were instrumental in Helen's success, reminding us of the importance of support systems. Your limits are your mindset. Helen didn't see her blindness or deafness as limitations. Instead, she saw them as challenges to be conquered. Her life reminds us that the only real barriers are the ones we create for ourselves. The big picture, a legacy that lives on. Helen Keller passed away in 1968, but her legacy continues to inspire. Her life is a shining example of what's possible when determination meets opportunity. Through her advocacy, writing, and speeches, she changed not only her own life, but the lives of millions around the world. When you face challenges, think of Helen Keller. If she could transform silence and darkness into a life of brilliance and purpose, imagine what you can achieve with the resources and opportunities you have today.